Turn the volume up, turn it loud. Miami's pride, make us proud. CanesWear crew, you hear the crowd. Hurricanes ain't backing down. Every play, every score. Raising bets and raising roar. Rocking orange, green galore. All for one and one for four. We got FTSN, taking names, win it again. Podcast fam, till the end. Tune in, now let's begin.
Welcome to the show, the big show, the CanesWear podcast with our great guests, Brad Tejeda, or our hosts, I should say, Brad Tejeda, Miami Mondo. Is that new Mondo? I put the CanesWear Brad. I think it was just Mamba, Miami Mondo, and soon to be Cliff, whatever he's doing right now. I think he's a Cliff, Uncle Cliffy. So we're all wearing. I feel like if we were playing a slot machine right now, CanesWear, and get the big jackpot. So we've got our beverages. Has everyone got a beverage? Because I've got mine here. Mondo's
not tonight.
Not tonight.
No.
I'm sorry. So national champions. Can I get this in the thing? National Championship Cup, 83, 87, 89, 91, 2001. Will there be another one to add soon? Maybe we can only hope, and I can just keep this as another collectible. So anyway, it's the CanesWear Spectacular. We are celebrating another Canes victory, 8-0. And I just realized something. So 8-0. And guys, take them here. I'll be right back. Okay?
All good. Sounds good. So, yeah, like you said, 8-0, right? We ended up pulling out a big-time win against our rival opponents in Florida State, getting a 36-14 win for all of you betting guys out there like me and Mondo. We covered the spread. And usually, Mondo, when you talk about rival opponents, doesn't matter how the season starts, how the season ends. And games like this, all that goes out the window. You really don't know what to expect. So even going into the game, seeing that 21.5 spread for Miami against Florida State was already surprising. The fact that we still covered the spread, and yet Florida State, the one thing that they're kind of getting their pom-poms about after getting another yet again loss this season, which they're quite used to, is something that we're not used to, and that's Cam Ward not throwing for a touchdown in the passing game this football game against Florida State. So I guess that was the only good opportunity that Florida State gets to talk about. But Mondo, what was your thoughts on the overall game? I know you were there. I was there. It was a great tailgate. We had our boys. We had Zach Krantz, John Mike, Carnell, X from Caneville. We had Kappa Kane. We even got to hang out with some former great football players. Edrin James, Clinton Portis was by the tailgate as well. So what'd you think, Mondo?
No, Brad, yeah, definitely. And good evening. Yeah, it was definitely good to see you and chill with everybody. Great times, great conversation. And it was awesome. As far as the game, yeah, after that first drive, you figured a pummeling. Oh, we still won by 22. And yes, like you said, they covered. Borregales was money. There's Cliffy. Borregales was money. And but 36. Yeah, it was odd. Defense stepped up. Yes, we talked about it all last week. FSU offense extremely limited, except that one strange QB sneak that went somehow, some way, went for like 35 or 40. I don't know what.
The parting of the Red Sea. It's just like
it was like the Eagles push plus 40 yards. It was very strange, but overall, I mean, you can't be mad at a 22-point win, especially in a rivalry game. Left some points out there, and it was cool to see Ward catch a touchdown. I'll say that. that helped some bettors at the end of the game, definitely. So overall, 8-0, and this Saturday you got Duke coming back, and we all know who their head coach is. Duke. We'll talk. I'm sure we'll get into Duke in a bit, but from what I understand, SMU had 6 turnovers and Duke still lost. That's like, I don't know what level of football. That's unheard of. Like
I'm missing a little easy field goal. What was it, a 30-yarder? After they got the return, and then just.
But Mario said it on.
What's crazy is they actually had 9 turnovers that game, and they actually
did they really?
They recovered 6 of the 9, so they actually got 6.
Okay.
But they could have had 9 turnovers. But we'll get to the Duke team later on.
No, as far as Mario mentioned it on his weekly spot yesterday, he said we only had limited possessions. We had 7. We scored 7 out of 8 times, and his next exact thing that he said was in his big bold letter. He emphasized that he's like, the crowd was insane. And I don't think it was Notre Dame 17 VT levels, but crowd was into it. The crowd was definitely live. Tailgate was good. It was a great atmosphere out there for sure.
We got to see our boy Cliff as well.
Yes,
Cliff
sir.
and his son Connor was in the building.
That was a CanesWear shirt today, by the way. You missed the meeting earlier.
I can't get anything new until end of the season.
Oh no, this isn't new though. This should be like OG. This should be
This is
like
one of my most comfortable shirts, though.
Come on
This is a
now.
comfortable shirt.
Yeah. It was good seeing you guys. I didn't get to see Brett this time, but got to saw Brad and hang out with him and hang out with Mondo for a little bit. Had a good time. So the tailgate was awesome. The game was awesome. It was pretty electric. I rewatched the first half so far, so I, for all the stuff that I missed, if I went to the bathroom or anything like that. But overall, good game. I thought we played, except for we missed so many hits on the quarterback. That quarterback got away from us way too many times. We should have had another 5-6 sacks in that game. There were so many missed tackles, like guys diving at him and missing him. It was crazy. I was sitting next to Double D.
Yeah,
Derek at the game.
Double D, yeah, Dolphin Derek as
Dolphin
well.
Derek,
He's coming after you. He's coming after you.
He is. Now, Dolphin Derek so Dolphin Derek made the point. First of all, I was right under you. I was with Jeff on 130 and the top row. I didn't realize you were over there. You guys all got to tailgate. I, of course, had to work and a jam-packed day, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to CanesWear. It was a spectacular day, a record-setting day. Brad was over, came in from Gainesville, worked the door for 4 hours, doing a great job, fantastic, letting people in slowly. Had the line, went all the way down to Panera. Fantastic. It was awesome. People were coming in. I need my orange. It was just awesome. Awesome experience. Winning is everything. As Al Davis or Vince Lombardi said, I don't know who to give the credit. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think Al Davis had just win, right?
Just win, baby.
Just win, baby. And Vince Lombardi was, winning isn't everything. It's the only thing, which is true. And in sports, it's winning because our fans. We've won one bowl game in about 50 years, it seems.
Jeez.
Okay, it's actually one bowl game since we won the 2017 bowl game, 2016 bowl game actually with Brad Kaya. And then with the 2017 season was the 10-0 start. And then we won, I think, the 2006 bowl game. But our fans already, it's like, oh, no, we only beat Florida State by 22 points.
Jeez.
I can't believe what a boring game. Even Dolphin Derek is on there right now. Says, oh, Brett, it was just what a boring game. I said, after the Virginia Tech game, the California game, the Cal game, and and even the game last in Louisville. I wanted a game. I said to Jeff and everyone around me at 1:30, I says, I don't want to see this game get within 10 points. Sure, winning on the last play of the game and having it overturned and having, those things to get you back into life, is great. But, those cardiac arrest things, that's great when you win the game. But when you're going through it, it's a tough thing, especially nobody's coming shopping anymore.
No, if you ask Mario, this is the game that he would probably prefer. Obviously, everybody loves the style points in the 50 or 60, but it was a bludgeoning. If you look back at it on both sides of the ball, especially up front, they kicked their ass. Martinez, the offensive line. I know we've harped on Martinez on this show. Martinez was with the ACC running back of the week this week. The last 2 weeks, he is running possessed.
Great,
possessed.
Destroying.
Our running back room right now is crazy. So they smoke.
They've been listening to us, guys. They've been listening to us to say we need the run game going. We need the run game going. They're listening.
And I think what you've seen with this game too is there was a game plan going into this game for Mike Norvell and the Florida State Seminoles where they knew they weren't going to win the game, but they did not want to get blown out in this football game. So what they did was they pretty much put a too high safety on their defense and bracket X and Arroyo in the passing game to where really they were giving you the 5 to 7 yard cushion plays all day long, but they were going to make sure because they do have a very good secondary and their pass rushers do get to the quarterback at time. What we also knew going into the game was that from a rushing defense standpoint that they were very weak, right? They're these same defensive ends that we're praising from a pass rush standpoint were really a deficit on the rushing standpoint as well. So we knew going into this game that, hey, this is going to be a big opportunity for us to get the running game going. You saw very early on, first drive of the game. Shout out to Mark Fletcher Jr. and the Fletcher family. I mean, anybody that was able to be in that stadium and witness that moment, I mean, just talking about it, you get chills. And I mean, it was just a great moment for Mark Fletcher Jr. to really just put some praise on his name for his father. So condolences to him and that family. So he had, not only did he have a good game, 15 carries, 71 yards and a touchdown, but we talked about balance, right? You got that good 1-2 punch. You guys brought up Damian Martinez. This, I believe, was the most rushing yards we've had by a running back in one game this season, when he had 15 carries as well. And he pretty much doubled what Fletcher had with 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I mean, kudos to not only him, but the offensive line. They definitely opened up some holes and got some push in there. And I think, Cam Ward, I think obviously there wasn't those hero plays or those magical plays that we're used to seeing make the top 10 Sports Center plays. But what you saw was he did the little things that we were nitpicking and harping on a couple weeks ago against the Cal, against Virginia Tech, where just make those small check down plays, give what the defense gives you. And you saw all game, he did just that. And he gave us the right opportunities to put us in the right positions. And between him and the offensive line, the running game, I think they performed really well. And I mean, not only those guys, but the receivers. I will give some kudos to Florida State secondary. They do have a pretty good secondary guys where we already knew they were athletic. They played with some of these other guys on our team all the way back from Pop Warner. So we knew this was going to be from a, talent standpoint, not very, separation. And what you saw was guys like Sam Brown and Isaiah Horton, 2 guys in particular at wide receiver that we continue wanting to see progress from. Those were the 2 guys in particular when their number was called, they executed. So you like to see that in the passing game when needed as well.
Yeah, good point, Brad. And that one thing I want to mention there, I saw when I was watching the game first half, I saw Cam throw the ball away a couple times too, which he hasn't been doing. Instead of trying to force something, he said, "Screw it, I'll throw it out of bounds, and we'll live to fight another day." You know what I'm saying? And he, sometimes he forced that in a couple other games. This time he's, threw the ball away. So I like to see that sometimes too.
Now let me ask y'all this question, because Mondo brought it up as well, and I didn't really bring this point up when breaking down the offensive side of the ball for Miami compared to Florida State, but Florida State was literally non-existent on the offense side of the ball. We kind of knew that going into this, but what we didn't know was, to Cliff and Mondo's point, was Luke, number 14 quarterback for Florida State, was going to end up being the leading rusher for Florida State with 11 carries, 71 yards, and a 42-yard rush on one play in particular, where really the whole play ended up blowing up. And I believe Lance Guidry, I think, said in a post interview the other day or today, I believe, that it was almost like a false snap by the center, and no one was really expecting the play to happen. But you got to think, going up against mobile quarterbacks in the past this season with guys like Byron Brown from USF and Kyron Jones from Virginia Tech, and even a guy like Mendoza at Cal who used his legs when needed, and now a team like Florida State where they didn't really have anybody capable of doing any damage, and yet the only guy that really did do something was a guy at quarterback that no one was expecting to run. And now we're gearing up for a Duke team that, again, isn't very heavy on the pass game, but they do have a quarterback that is very mobile and can use his legs when needed. That's going to be something we're going to need to talk about moving forward. But I want to ask this, all 3 of you guys pivot to the defensive side of the ball. We held Florida State to 14 points. If you really look deep into the game, it's really 7 points. The last touchdown came, really garbage time. But all in all, holding a team to 7 to 14 points, covering the spread, and a defense that really just needed to pick up the pace. What was y'all's all around thoughts as far as the defense is concerned?
I thought the defense played great. I mean, I thought it was an excellent effort. We were tackling. There weren't as many missed tackles as we've had in the past. At the last few games, I thought that was awesome. Outside of, like you said, that broken play where he parted the C and just went right through. We still got a 1st and goal. They had at the 1, I think it was, or the 2, and we held them to 4th down, and we almost stopped them right there. And the late touchdown, you're right. Okay, you never want to give up the score, but at the same time, the game was already over. That meant more to Florida State than it meant to us. So I thought the defense much improved. Now, granted, Florida State's not been playing great, but when these two teams line up in the rivalry, and most of these kids have played each other before, in 7-on-7 or in other leagues, this is this is the game. This was their whole entire season. If they could beat us, it would have, not that it would have been a positive season, but their season would have been 100% different, recruiting, everything. So I think the defense played great. I think the defense was awesome. That's my take.
Yeah, they were absolutely flying around from the jump. They fed off the crowd when the team came out on the field, and the front seven, the secondary, granted. I mean, we talked about it ad nauseum last week. There's no passing threat with that team over there. I mean, it's rare to go in this rivalry this long to say that about them, or there was just nothing you were scared of looking at that side, or even them looking our way. If it was vice versa, you don't see that in this rivalry. There was no threat of them passing the ball. That being said, I thought the defense was outstanding, except at the very end. They scored a touchdown, which made it a 23-point deficit. So there may have been some people in the crowd that were on their hands and knees begging for them not to go for two, because it would have cut it to 21. It would have been a push in the bet. So
correct. Also, the total in the game was 49.5 at one time, and the game ended up at 50. And I know of a few people that may have been happy about that. So not to see what the other team is, but
maybe you. But overall, I thought, you can't go wrong with a more than 3 score. Yes, correct. It wasn't the style points of 50 plus.
Us winning by only 3 touchdowns. We've not won anything. We're 8-0. It doesn't matter. All you need to do is, as Mario says, go 1-0 every single week. What was the spread on the game?
21.
So 22. You beat the spread. You beat Vegas. You know what? It was a clean game. Nobody got hurt. No injuries.
Yeah.
We live to play another day. 8-0 going into Duke. You can't beat that. We're top 5 in the country. To me, it was a win-win-win. And what do you think, Cliff?
I'm in the same boat. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to beat them by more and all that stuff for style point stuff. But you beat any team that's in the Power 4 by 3 touchdowns, and you'd be happy. It doesn't matter who it is. You're beating your rival by 3 touchdowns is still an ass beating to me.
Yeah, and as far as to piggyback on that, you look at Mario postgame. The way he replied to that question from the reporter, the way he pounded the podium and gave that ice cold stare. He knows the importance of this game. Yeah, we know who we were playing, but all the recruits that were there that Brad mentioned last week, and kids across the country now are seeing that Miami football is serious again. Mm-hmm. Miami football isn't an afterthought. They're back to in the national discussion again.
Yeah, no, it's huge. It's huge. Touching on the offense that we talked about, that they did not. Obviously, our passing spectacular game was not there, but we ran the ball, which we've all said, if you want to win a championship, you got to be able to run the ball. And 2 games in a row, we've dominated the line of scrimmage, ran the ball. Mm-hmm. And Dolphin Derek, I don't know if he's still on or not. Young Ethan, as everyone knows, who plays quarterback over in Bradenton or Brandon or somewhere like that. He made Marto there too. Thank you. I was seeing if you knew that. Congratulations, Mondo. He made a comment that with the black inner wall, the black inner wall, the inside infield wall is black, and we got the black jerseys, the black helmets. Could it have been a little bit off for Cam, that just for a split second you don't see where everybody is? You're in center field. They don't want to paint. You need to be able to pick up the ball. So I just wonder if there was a little bit. Probably not, but it's a possibility that could have slowed down the offense.
Let me tell you, I thought we looked sleek. The coach is wearing all black, and the player. It was a good. It looked good. There was a lot of talk.
Great. I don't want to ever hear anyone say Nike's got the best jerseys, because that was the greatest jersey we've ever worn.
Yeah, because some people were like, "Oh, why is the crowd orange? And why is the team wearing black?" Let me tell you what. Them when they came out, all black with that orange, and all the coaches lined up in all black, it looked pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. It looked
apparently this week we're going to be having a different uniform combo that we're not used to, according to Xavier Strepo in a recent interview. So we'll see what happens with the unis this weekend against Duke. But go to wrap up this Florida State Miami game, I think all in all, to y'all's point, being able to cover a spread against your rival, and guys, we got to remember, it's college football. Every single week you can get upset. And as you've seen with every team that ends up being ranked number 1, somehow, some way, they find a way to lose. So I don't need the number 1 spot right now. I'll continue to be the hated Miami that, every week there's an excuse on why they win, but yet they continue to win. And guess what? Yes, Cam Ward had his worst performance so far this year, but you still beat your rival by 20-plus points, and you're dominant on the run.
Well,
you know what that means? That means you are starting to look like a complete football team, to where when you go into a football game, if a defense is trying to set in saying, hey, you are not going to pass the ball this game, you are going to have to run. Well, guess what? Last couple of weeks, we proved we can do just that.
Correct.
If you're going to go into the game and stop the run first 3-4 weeks of the season, we have proved that Cam Ward will do just that. And I think, leading up to this matchup against Duke, which we can just go ahead and start talking about now, we know first and foremost that this Duke team is going to be coming into the Hard Rock with a head coach that we're all very familiar with in Manny Diaz, who is going to come into this football game with pride to try to upset the University of Miami, Mario Cristobal. And we all know that this is a guy that is going to bring the house on a lot of blitzes for this Duke defense that is very efficient on defense, I will say. From a statistical standpoint, when you turn on the tape, they really are fundamentally sound. They play together. And I think one thing in particular that I think a lot of people overlook with a Manny Diaz type defense, it's not necessarily the athletes that he's using in his defense. It's, are these guys smart enough and capable enough to maneuvering in different spots or going to the situations that are called upon each and every play? Because a lot of times, I will be honest, when Manny Diaz's defense is humming, it's humming. But when it's not necessarily Manny Diaz. It's the defensive players misreading the assignments when the plays are called upon. And as y'all know, going to Duke, you got to be a pretty smart student athlete to go to Duke. So they might not have the necessarily talent athletes that Miami has, but they will and can be capable of doing some stuff on the defensive side of the ball to cause some issues. And when you really look at this defense, I mean, they're top 3 in every category when it comes to a turnover margin, whether it's creating turnovers, recovering turnovers, and all projections. And this is a team that just lost to SMU this past weekend. I know one of y'all brought it up, but they had 6 turnovers, but in reality, they created 9 turnovers, but they recovered 6 out of 9. And they lead the country with 10 turnovers all around. So this is a team that has no problem creating turnovers. So I'm interested to see what y'all's thoughts are on this game.
Well, I think, downplaying Duke is never a good thing, because we're probably a 500 team against Duke in the last 10 years, are we not? I mean, we've not played Duke really well. I mean, we beat them on the lateral game, which is obviously a spectacular game. But we've not played well against Duke, and Duke has had our number. And I know we're a different team and a different coaching staff, and they're a different team and a different coaching staff. But, we've had difficulty. So I never take this team lightly, but especially with Manny. Manny did a great job last year with the Penn State defense, and we won some big games. I think Manny was undefeated against Florida State when he was here, was he not? No, we lost the last game. We lost the last Florida State game. What was it, 4th and 17 or so, or 3rd and
3-1?
We lost that last one. That's really why he lost his job. If he would have won that game, we probably would still be here, which we're not going to. Every once in a while, it's good to take a loss, I guess. But I think that we can't take this team lightly. Those players, as you saw with Virginia Tech, when Cam was playing his cousin, that team rose to the occasion. They were obviously better than their record showed. But this team is going to want to win for their coach. These kids, I mean, a lot of them are recruited by Manny. A lot of them want to show to Manny that they belong there. They're going to fight hard for him. And I believe Manny's going to some tricks out of the book. I mean, we got to be really careful. It's a 21-point spread, and that's a high number against this team when they are
huge.
They really. I mean, this is important to them. Plus, they're out of the ACC race if they lose this game.
Yep.
So I don't put anything past this team. I don't take them for granted. I think the Canes will be in a dogfight.
Mondo, Cliff, what's your thoughts?
I will say that Manny was interviewed, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, and he said that he's at peace with everything as far as his past with Miami, and he comes here a lot in the offseason or whatnot, and he's okay. But let me tell you something. That's coach speak.
Absolutely.
If you don't think that this guy's had this game circled since like May, June, July, he was playing last week. SMU, he was probably thinking about Mario and the Hurricanes. And he mentioned that, yeah, SMU had a bunch of former Cane players. This means a lot. I mean, put any coach coming back to play against their former squad, but this means his dad was the former mayor here. This is big. I don't care what he says all week long.
Mm.
And I don't hate the guy. He did good at Penn State, like Brett mentioned. It is what it is, but he's in our way. So offensively, I don't think they can keep up with us. But to Brad's point, yeah, defensively they're sound. They're a very strong defensive team. They're 6-2. They beat FSU by throwing for like what, 75, 80 yards. I mean, that just tells you how bad FSU is. So they're not going to be able to keep up with us. But to Brad's point against VT, we're playing against Ward's cousin. Yeah, turnovers happen. You never know. You never know. It's a playoff game, like Mario says.
Every
These
game is a
games
playoff,
are playoff games. So that being said, this now takes on a bigger tone because now we're 4 games left. You saw now yesterday and today the Canes football account tweeting it. Now the Heisman campaigns are really cranking up because now Ward's the leading as far as the betting odds. He's now the leading Heisman guy. So pretty much in essence, we all know last week he didn't throw for 400. He didn't have the 4 touchdowns. If Miami wins out, more likely than not, he's winning the Heisman Trophy. Because if anybody else is playing quarterback, we're not sniffing 12-0. It's that simple. So if they win every game left, he's winning the Heisman Trophy. So that's how big this is right now. As far as the team, obviously, they win their last 4 games. They're in the playoff. They're in the ACC championship. So this is huge. They're not going to take nobody lightly. Last week, again, we talk about it every week. Oh, this game's going to tell me what. But they came out firing from the beginning. Ward slinging it to Horton on the outside, running the ball up the middle, defense attacking. Yeah, this Saturday, the game was supposed to be at 7 originally until Duke lost, and then ESPN changed it up to a noon.
We were going to be.
Yeah.
I was talking to Danny Canes Insight. Yeah, we were only going to be game day.
It was going to be a night game. It was supposed to be until Duke lost. Then the next morning on Sunday, they announced a switch, but Hurricanes will be ready. They know what's at stake. There's too much at stake to flop. But that being said, yeah, Manny will have that team ready. I promise you that.
Cliff, what do you got?
I agree 100% with you guys. Soon as he took that job, that's the first game he circled on the schedule. He wants to prove everyone down here and the school wrong for letting him go and bringing Mario in, which they're 100% right doing it. This team, we knew how they weren't deep. We didn't have, the culture, everything was messed up. Mario restored that. Now we got a show on the field Saturday. I don't give a shit if it's noon, 7, 3:30. We got to come out and really take it to them because their offense is crappy, but their defense, like Brad said, if we take care of the ball, we should be fine. If we don't, this is going to be another roller coaster ride. And I'll be back in the stadium Saturday, and I don't want to feel that when I'm there because I will jump off the second.
You're going to be
not. And you're not worried. You're not
on Thursday, baby.
Wow!
So the whole gang will be back together this weekend.
I'm working 7. Well, let's face it, I'm not going to be there at 7, but I'm working about 10 to 11:30 and going, and then I'll go back there. So I don't think I'll be able to tailgate. And with you guys,
right? You got to get to the tailgate. Come on,
I got to get to the tailgate. I know. I saw Adrian AB after. Were you guys tailgate with AB?
I saw AB.
Let's see what our comments are. We're an hour later, so we don't have as many commenters. But Dolphin Derek beat Duke. Cliff, get with the plan. Wrong shirt. Okay, thank you, Dolphin Derek, for policing this thing. Unacceptable, Cliff. There's another Cliffy. Brett works sometimes. LOL. Okay, there we go. 48-13. Big Poppy's in the house. All right. Yo, what up, fam? What up, Poppy? Great to talk.
Big Poppy.
Big Poppy's in the house. We're getting some mad respect now.
Did Popo play last game?
What's that?
Did Popo play last game? I didn't remember seeing him.
I didn't see him in much, to be quite honest with you. But I will say this, right? Talking about this Duke game, I did mention that they were top 3 in the nation in pretty much every turnover margin on the defense side of the ball. They're also second in the nation in tackles for a loss, which just goes back again to the credit of Manny Diaz type of defense. We've experienced this before, not only when he was at DC, but head coach at Miami. When you get the right guys in place and everything starts to work out in your favor, creating a lot of turnovers, that's when things start to play in your favor, especially when you have a weak offense like we've experienced in the past. You're seeing the same thing with Duke. But one thing I do know is this, guys, is that Manny Diaz will blitz a lot. And when he does show and disguise blitzes, it's very predictable of when these things happen. And I think the only way that Manny Diaz can play his style defense and it be the aggressive style that he's hoping for against Miami is two things have to happen for him to be able to do that. Is one, like we all mentioned, turnovers, especially very early. We got to make sure that we hold on to the football, whether it's running or passing the ball throughout this football game. And then the second thing for this is just going to be we need to be able to establish the run very early. I've been talking about their defense, but really a lot of their defense is the passing defensive situation. They do limit their defense on the passing front to under 170 passing yards a game, which is really good for a Duke football team. And a lot of that, again, has to go with the turnover margin and just being able to pin your ears back and be in situations where you can just blitz a lot and there's nothing you can do about it. But they are also the second worst team in the ACC against the run. So, again, going into the football game, just like Florida State and just like that, we are going up against teams that from a secondary and a pass defense standpoint, they have the capability to give us some fits. So what do you do going in this game? You do exactly what the defense will allow you to do, which in this game is very easily and very simple to see when you turn on the tape. You just run this football against this Duke football team. You're going to wear them out. And I think this is going to be another big game for Mark Fletcher, Damian Martinez, A.J. Allen, and even maybe a Chris Johnson or Jordan Lyle this game. But I think we're going to run the ball a lot. I think there will be opportunities that Cam Ward will either have to tuck it and run or have some good first down usage with some of our wide receivers. But all in all, I think this is going to be another running game where we have at least 200-plus rushing yards and we win by at least 13 to 18 points, possibly even more than that. But I think, again, you don't want to be put in a situation where you're on third down. When you really look at this Miami offense, even though we're now second in the nation in total yards on offense behind, I want to say it's like Troy or like North Dakota State, some weird team right now. But Miami is also first in the nation on first downs, which is very surprising, right? I always talked about the third down efficiency, which we're also, again, number one in the nation in that. So kudos to that. But the fact that an offense can be number one in the nation on first downs and be number one in the nation on third down conversion just goes to show you money downs, and really when you just need to move the ball, we have the capability to do that, whether it's in the air or on the ground. And that's going to be very key for us. The first downs for us is going to be very key for us to continue this, because when you look at the third down conversion rate on defense for both Miami and Duke, we're both 9 and 11 in the nation. So both of our defense know how to contain an offense when it's money down situations on third down. So we got to make sure that on first down, we really know how to utilize those plays and get big time positive yards.
That's pretty spectacular if you think about it. Probably the last 10 years combined, we're probably in Power 5 teams. We could be the dead last in third down conversions. We have been in the bottom 10 probably majority of years. So that's spectacular. I mean, is that the offensive game plan changing? Is that one man that's pretty much put this together, and that's Cam Ward? I mean, that's the key question here. I mean, if Cam Ward's not our quarterback this year, okay, nothing against Poffenberger or Emery, but do we have 3 losses? I mean, is it the same team without Cam this year? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I think to Brad's point out, correct me if I'm wrong, I saw something a couple of days ago that we're, I think like 3-point-something% of drives have been 3 downs and out or something crazy like that. It's like, it's surreal. Like,
That is.
we've gone from the gutter in offense for the last 5-10 years to this. This is like,
I know.
today I saw number 1 in points per game. Like, you could have told me that before the season. I'd be like, what? In America, points per game? It's crazy.
We only had, so it's called Kumondo's stat. We only had 3 times this whole season where we didn't convert on third down, and 2 out of 3 of those were against Florida first game of the season.
Wait, we have those are 2 games that we did not convert at all on third down?
No.
We've only so throughout the whole season, There's only been 3 times on third down where we have not converted. And 2 out of 3 of those times were the first game of the season against Florida.
Wow.
All right.
That's hard to imagine. 3 times. So, wow.
Yeah, that's
Well, it's not because, going back to my point, if you're not only first in the nation on third downs, which is what we're talking about, but then you're also first in the nation on first downs, how many opportunities are you in third downs when you're also number 1 in the nation on first downs?
True. I mean, it's pretty special. The third, I mean, we were. It seemed like we were always dead last or close to dead last in third down defense and third down offense, which is the reason why we've won 10 games once in 16 years. So we're not at 10 games yet, but we need 2 out of these next 4, and hopefully nobody's looking for 10.
No, we need all
Yes,
4.
everybody at the beginning of the season, people say, you know what, I'll take 9-3. There were plenty of people that said they expect 7-5 or 8-4. I mean, I was the only person that said I think 17-0 or 16-0, but I say that every year. So a broken clock has to be right.
You're just thinking of the store.
Exactly.
Well, I know that
guys,
right now we're at 89-90% right now to make the playoffs, so we'll see.
We were favored to make the playoffs before the season. We were before the season. If you wanted to bet on us, to bet, you had to lay odds if you didn't think we were going to make the playoffs. So it's kind of crazy that they thought this. And but one game at a time. Ashley, one game at a time. Exactly.
Absolutely.
From Ohio. Look at that. From Ohio.
Right. Welcome.
Awesome. The Canes. Like it. Dolphin Derek. You know, you said you thought they were thinking about a store. Thinking about a store. We got to think about the main store, and that's CanesWear, right? I mean, our guy Brett just talked about these amazing black jerseys that they debuted this past week against Florida State, and man, were they lovely. You also got the orange Sebastian, faded Gigi Sebastian. I got that this past weekend as well. There's been a ton of great gear over at Miami. They even got the all orange jersey that would have been a perfect one to wear this past weekend. Brett, give us some of your favorite items in the store this week.
Well, in the store this week, I mean, there are some rumors of what they're going to be wearing, and it's not going to be orange or black or white. So if it is, whatever you wear, just being out in the stadium is the key. Let's follow up this sold out crowd with a huge fan crowd. I mean, the CanesWear World Tour is on right now, as Dolphin Derek likes to say. But right now, tons of great things. The CanesWear jerseys, you probably sold 200 of them this weekend. I know, Brad, you got one. Got a lot of really cool polos.
That hat,
the new Canes football shirt in green is awesome. We got a great shirt. It's all about the U in green. Tons of the new throwbacks we've got. If you need for apparel, we've got it. If you need accessories, we've got it. You need socks, hats, whatever, we got it. At CanesWear, we've got the latest, like I said, the CanesWear items. We got the Mark Fletcher jerseys, the Xavier Restrepo jerseys. We've got you covered, and it's exciting right now because we have a ton of inventory, more inventory than anybody. And if Jeff is watching this, he's probably shaking his head right now. Yes, we do. And also, obviously, Miami's in the playoffs. We got all the Messi jerseys. We got all that 30% off. Florida Panthers are the Stanley Cup champions. They're off to a great start right now, 7-3, I believe, number 1 in the East. We've got all the items for the Panthers, and of course, we got the great Dolphins at 2-5 as well. And we've got their stuff for this big matchup against the Bills, which I'm sure we're going to win because we've been doing so well. So lots of great stuff. We've got the Dolphin Challenge Cancer items. We've got the Dolphin Challenge Cancer pens. Well, there's also Military Appreciation Week. Besides, so green is in. We've got plenty of military appreciation items, which are great shirts. Support, we know it's all about you, but it's all about you, the fans. It's all about appreciating our military this week. Hey, Brett, love the store. I go every time before games each week. Love it. Brought my granddaughter to her first Canes game. Got her first Canes shirt a few weeks ago before the family game. Love the store. Thank you, C. We appreciate you. Awesome. And thank you. That means the world to us.
Great comment.
That's great. That's
thank
awesome.
you. Yes, Big Poppy, you're absolutely right. It was crazy Saturday. Brad had that door for a while, and he did a great job. I'll tell you.
That's the first thing.
He's a former Foot Locker manager, right, Brad? And is that correct?
Yep. It sure is. I mean, you got. I mean, it was some of your employees was like looking at me like, "Oh, this is pretty busy," and I'm like, "Man, I've worked some Jordan releases back in the day, and I'm like,
Oh,
man,
my
I'm
goodness.
good.
I
This is
can't
nothing.
believe it.
Like,
I can't imagine what that's
I need a more busier than this. I was ready to keep going, but yeah, it was a great time. Awesome stuff. Got to see a lot of King fans and held the door. I got
go to the
exciting
store.
times right now. Exciting
Yeah,
times.
Brett had me working. I said, bro, I've been down that road before a lot.
we got my boy Jonathan Ocampo in the house. Go Canes.
Go Canes. There you go, baby.
Yes. Good. Thank you.
What's the address of the store? You know what the address of the store does. They're 265 South University.
Guy has a bedroom in the back
baby,
closet.
Florida, baby.
Yeah, Derek's got
University Drive or CanesWear.com. CanesWear, the spot. South Florida fan shop. So, you never know who you're going to run into CanesWear. People run in all the time. They see different players, a lot of players coming to the store, which is really cool just to shop, players' families. I just got to say, shout out to the Fletcher family. Mark Fletcher Sr., an amazing man. Every time he came in, big hug for me, talked forever. Just a great, wonderful, warm, loving human being. I mean, definitely will be missed. Very sad situation. Yeah, he did pass in his sleep this week, for those of you that didn't know, and just a very difficult time. There is going to be a celebration, a memorial this week on Thursday and Friday. I know a lot of the Canes team is probably going. His sister reached out to me today, but it's very difficult when we lose family like that. And just 52 years old. Mark, rest in peace. And I know you're going to be looking over the Canes family, and I know Mark is going to make you proud every day. So we love all the Canes fans, and those that are with us and those that aren't. So
God bless that family. That's horrible.
Yeah, very well said. Young man, 52.
So young, dude.
Very young.
Man,
what a touching opportunity it was for Mark Fletcher. I think we knew going into this game, like I mentioned before, we were going to run the football against Florida State. But then once we heard the tragic news, right, and then also heard that Mark Fletcher was still going to fight and get into this football game and end up playing, we knew right away. I mean, me, Mondo, John, and Cliff and others, we knew why we were having fun partying in the tailgate. We were like, hey, man, that first drive, you better watch out because Mark Fletcher is coming for somebody's head, and he's going to get in that touchdown. And when we all saw that first drive, when he got in that touchdown, it was definitely a monumental moment. I mean, just the crowd in general. Talk about hashtag Pack the Rock. We did just that. And just being able to see the opportunity right there with Mark Fletcher being able to put on for not only his father and leaving a legacy and an imprint for his name, even after the game. I think one of the biggest things, one of the touching things with all this is that he understands that, hey, my father gave me his name for a reason, and I'm going to make sure I live up to that and make him proud. So I really enjoy that. And I'm glad that Mario and this football team gathered behind this young man and gave him the opportunity that first drive to do what we needed to do for him and his family.
Absolutely. So speaking of Pack the Rock, we talked about it against a couple of games. We got to be tweeting that out, Pack the Rock. There's 2 more home games. Cam Ward could be the most dynamic Miami Hurricane to ever put on the orange and green. He's had 2 Heisman Trophy winners before in Vinny Testaverde and Gino Torretta. Cam is obviously the leading candidate right now to win. So we really just got to go ahead and if you don't go out there, I mean, Taylor Swift selling concert tickets. People are on the hot market, $2,000. Okay, Cam Ward. We may never see a player like this again.
Exactly.
At Miami, and to not go see him. And if you're a fan and you say, well, let me see, I'm just going to go ahead and watch. I mean, you got to go out. It is such a big difference. So many games in the past I've seen 20,000, 25,000. I say that's the difference in us winning and losing sometimes. Let's pack it. We get 50, 60,000 people. It's going to be very tough to beat us. And these players deserve it. And the other thing is people say, oh, who cares if I go? You know who cares? The recruits a lot of times. Let's go out, Pack the Rock, make it great. Look at this. Uncle Cliff is flying in from Allentown area, Pennsylvania. I mean, Brad is coming in from that other Canes Metropolitan in Gainesville. Mondo's coming from Hialeah, Miami Lakes, or Miami Lakes. Let's go away from Davie. So everybody, let's go. we travel better. We get so many people from out of town in the store that come from out of town all over the country, and they come. If you're in South Florida, let's go. Let's go. Thank you, Ashley.
Yep.
Let's preach it. Let's go. We got to go ahead, get out, pack the rock. This could be the opportunity that we don't know how long it's going to be again until we have a team like this. Nothing is promised. Nothing's forever.
Yeah, that's
not
people at my job think I'm crazy. Like, are you serious? You're going down there again? You're only coming back to work for 3.5 days, and you're going back. I'm like, hell yeah! This is our best team.
You tell Mr. Cliff enough.
Let's go.
Hey, the same way people are saying, "Are you going to the game again?" is the same way that when you talk to rivals or when you just talk to people that love sports at the bar, people are looking at Miami each and every weekend, and they say they're winning again. Cam Ward is doing this again. And no one can believe that the season Miami's having right now, because they got to respect it, right? Because they're seeing with their own two eyes that a guy like Cam Ward can really change a program around, just like Joe Burrow did with LSU. All it takes is one guy to really make a difference. And when you already have a head coach and a staff like Mario Cristobal and what he's built that understands how to recruit, develop, and key in on right guys, and timing is everything when it comes to recruiting, he's able to get 120 plus recruits at a home game against Florida State, knowing it's going to be a big time showdown, knowing it's going to be packed and giving you that college atmosphere. And I was able to, talk to Camden Portis' father, which, as y'all know, is Clinton Portis. I got to talk to him for about 15 minutes at the tailgate on Saturday before his son ended up committing to Miami over the weekend. And then again, I talked to you guys off air, and I told you guys on the CanesWear Daily podcast, do not sleep on Malachi Toney. Even though he decommitted, we are going to continue to recruit this guy, and do not throw shade on him, because you are going to end up getting bit in the butt in that long run. And guess what happens? Malachi Toney recommits in the class, and now we are starting to build a nice little wave going into this last stretch of the regular season, to where yet again Mario knows how to make timing out of everything. And I think there's a couple more recruits in the arsenal getting ready to hopefully commit to Miami. And I think this team and this recruiting class is really building not only for 2025, but 2026 as well. I got to talk to Darion Coleman, his dad, and his quarterback trainer. You guys will get to be able to hear that later on this week. This was the first time that Darion and his dad was able to be at Hard Rock Stadium for the first time. They've gotten to see Miami this year in Gainesville against Florida, but this was the first time they got to experience the Hard Rock. And the fact that it was as packed as it was, the atmosphere, how loud it was, and then Darion getting the opportunity to chop it up with Cam Ward after the game, it's a lot of good information. And this is a young man that is going to be bringing a lot of good weapons in with him for this 2026 class. It's going to be very interesting how this team lines up the next couple of years, because even though we got Cam Ward now only for a year, and possibly Luke Nickel, I'm going to be honest with Cane fans and with y'all. I haven't talked to many other recruits that have the Kobe Bryant type mantra to them like Darion Coleman. And the fact of what he does on the football field, it's going to be very scary what he looks like in 2 to 3 years. And now at Miami. And I think this young man really can be the next face.
And Brad, when is that podcast? You already did that?
Yeah, I got it. I got it in the books. We'll be dropping it probably tomorrow or Thursday. It'll be Darion, Balin Trujillo, and Edward Coleman, his father, as well. Will all be joining us. We'll be talking about the visit to Florida State, his upcoming opponent against Osea this upcoming weekend, or I'm sorry, Okoe, this upcoming weekend, and obviously some of these guys he's trying to bring on board.
Awesome. So, great kid. I think I met him at the game in the Gainesville tailgate. You introduced me to him, but remember Brad's daily podcast. It's just about daily, right, Brad?
Yes.
The CanesWear Daily Podcast with Brad Tejeda does a great job. Listen in for all the updated news, to meet all the upcoming Canes, and just to learn about recruiting. And it's awesome. We've got the CanesWear Weekly Podcast with all of the prize panel that we have on right now. And sometimes guests. So if you ever want to be a guest, if you want to join the show, just go ahead and let us know beforehand, and we'll bring you on. It's about you, your show, and we want other people want other points of view as well. As long as you're a Canes fan, that's all you need to be. So you got a couple of new things. So let's talk about the score. All right, what is our score prediction for this game? What does everybody feel?
Go ahead, Cliff. Start us off.
This week, I think it's going to be Canes 42-21.
21 points, exactly the spread. You got Paul Werfield and Jim Kick for those Dolphin fans in the past. All right. What do you got, Mondo?
I'll go with 41-17.
41-17, 24 points. I like it. Brad, what do you got?
I got 38. I got 38-17. 38-17 Miami.
38-17. All right. Brad's with that 38. You see. So 38-17. I think the turnovers could be a little bit of a key. This is a great opportunity for the Canes to play a team that can take the ball away. We need to play all these teams to get ready for the playoffs. So I like the 38 number. I'm going to go 38-21. 38-21, which is 10 points lower than Big Poppy with the 48-21. I'm at 38-21. Adam Hill, welcome, Adam. 31-13, Adam. The 18-point spread. 31-13. All right.
I'll take all those scores, whatever they want to take.
You know what? I don't care if we win.
I'll take the W.
The W. I just want a W, exactly. I just want a W. Let's just win. Let's just win.
Let's just win, baby.
Speaking of scores and spreads, one thing that we want to start doing with you, Cane fans, and everyone tuned in is we want to start giving y'all a little bit of a daily dose of what me, Mondo, Brett, and Cliff at times as well will be able to chime in. And of course, you fans, if you guys got any prop bets or parlays that you want to chime in with what we got over at the CanesWear podcast every Tuesday night, you're more than happy to do. But this week, me and Mondo are going to start you off this week with some locks of our own that we're going to be locking into our own parlays, surprise picks, hard rock bets, any of you other ones out there that you want to jump on with the CanesWear Daily podcast either every day or even on Tuesday nights and throw our nice little promo code out there. We'll be happy to do this show for you. But let's go ahead and go with Mondo's first pick of the lock week. We just talked about this Miami and Duke game, and we talked about the specific score. But Mondo, break us down with this first pick of the week of your lock. You got Miami total points over 37.5 right now. Well, what's your look on that?
Well, my look on that is I just said 41-17. And if you look at last week against FSU, we scored 36. We bogged down a couple times near the ends, the red zone or whatnot. Kicked field goals. Good job by Borregales. But I don't see that happening back-to-back weeks. You're going to see some more touchdowns this week. Maybe even in some defensive big turnover play. And with what I don't think is an inept offense, but to FSU levels. But you can see the defense make a big play like they did against Louisville. Something to that effect. I don't think 50 this week. No, I mean I'll be happy to be wrong, but I think over 37.5 is definitely a good play. I think the over under right now is like a 54. The last I saw.
Yep.
I don't see Duke being able to put up enough to get to that unless we really go nuts. All right, so I'll stick with the Miami over 37.5 and to hit it this week because they got the 36 last week. I like Miami. Oh, over 37.5, definitely.
I mean, me personally, this isn't necessarily a hard rock bet because I don't think Hard Rock has this specific what I'm thinking of. But I think one of the biggest locks in this game is going to be taking the rushing yards over from Miami in this game. Like I said before, Duke is one of the worst teams in the ACC at stopping the run. I think we're going to go in with a game plan of definitely attacking them from a running standpoint to where their blitzing can't be as obvious because once you make a team one-dimensional, that's when you can really pin your ears back. And I think Miami's going to go right off the gate and establishing the run to where then it's really going to open up everything for Cam Ward. And I think what people don't realize, and I think what Manny Diaz and this Duke defense is going to realize very quickly is you can blitz all you want, but our guy Cam Ward, that's actually when he benefits the most. And he can really pinpoint and go through his progressions very quickly and isolate where those blitzes are coming from. So blitz all you want if you want, but when you got Damian Martinez and Mark Fletcher pounding the rock, because honestly, this defensive line and defense of Duke is very undersized, even though they play very well. That defensive line is very small compared to not only our offensive line, but the running back that they're going to be trying to tackle. I don't think they've seen 2'6", 230-pound running backs coming at them every other play this season. So I like the over on rushing for Miami in that Miami Duke game as well. Going to your second, Mondo, Kentucky plus 16.5 against Tennessee. This is a Tennessee team that is not only ranked, but they're coming off. They only have one loss right now, if I'm not mistaken. They're 6-1, 3-1 in the SEC. This is going to be a big time game for them to contend still in the SEC contention race. Why do you like Kentucky in this one?
I'm a little mystified by this spread. I mean, Kentucky won at Ole Miss. Kentucky did lose at Florida, but Kentucky also lost to Vandy by like a touchdown at home, if I'm not mistaken. Kentucky's not a bad football team. Kentucky lost to Georgia by like, what, 1 at home?
Are you selling the 16 points for you?
No, I'm taking Kentucky plus 16.5. Tennessee's offense, I don't understand this spread at all, to be honest with you. I'm taking Kentucky with the points all day and then some. If it loses, hey, I'll be the first one to say. It happens. We've all made losing bets, but almost 3 scores. I don't know this whether Kentucky's at home or away. I'll take Kentucky plus 16.5
all right.
any day of the week against Tennessee. I don't understand this spread at all.
Yeah, and going to your last one, Louisville Clemson over 61, and I think now it's already moved to 62.5, if I'm not mistaken. So if you didn't already lock it in, I believe on ESPN at least it's at 62.5. But it depends on what app you're betting on. But Louisville Clemson, usually Louisville's a team that scores a lot of points, and obviously Cade Klubnik and Clemson is doing their thing right now on the offense. That over 61 looks pretty favorable right now, so I like that Clemson and Louisville won a lot too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Clemson's offense has been they've turned it up a notch, and Louisville, as we saw against us, they can put up points. And in this game, if Clemson goes up big, Louisville will be chasing points. So yeah, to me, over 61. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk by any means, but
you take a picture of that.
I like the play.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, take that screenshot, baby.
There you go. All right.
All right, so moving over to Brad's locks for the week.
Okay, Army. Anyone that is picking an Army game has got to know their football, ladies and gentlemen.
They've been cooking, man.
Right?
They've been cooking.
So my first lock. Well, let's slow down on that because last week I got burned. I hit every pick except the Navy one last week, and they found a way to turn the ball over every time they got it on offense and got blown out against Notre Dame. So, let's slow down on that. But I will say this: Army is facing Air Force. Air Force has only won 1 game this year. Army is still currently undefeated. They are going to do everything possible to make sure they have this historic Cinderella run and go all the way to the end and winning with no losses. And I think this 31 total points is just as good as the spread on this game. You can probably go with either one if you like, but I just think the 31.5 total points for Army is probably the safest one just because when you look at this team in Army, they really know how to put up points no matter who they play against. They average like almost close to 40 points a game right now. So I think the 31.5 against a weak Air Force team is really one game in particular that I think you should lock up. Second, this is going to be a game that I think Miami fans are going to want to watch, not just because it's one of my locks for the week, but just because this is a game that is really going to determine some of these other ACC teams that we're battling against that we may possibly, hopefully, see up in Charlotte. And that's SMU against Pittsburgh. These are both 2 teams that are 7-0 and 7-1, both ranked. So this is going to be a tough matchup. And I think both of these teams, even though they're wishy-washy on the defensive side of the football, these are both teams that on the offensive side have proven all year that they can put up points when needed. And I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. So I like the 58.5 with SMU and Pitt. Both of these teams score 35-40 easily pretty much every other game. So I like that one as well. Another one that I like is the Texas A&M minus 2.5 against South Carolina. South Carolina, in my opinion, has been very iffy throughout the SEC. Besides Dylan Stewart on the defensive side of the ball, they haven't really had any spark, even though they are playing at home. Texas A&M is 7-1, ranked number 10 right now, and I think they want to continue the momentum that they have 5-0 in the SEC. And I think the 2.5 should be pretty easy one to cover for them. So like Texas A&M, and I threw one NFL one in there as well. I believe it's not ready yet on Hard Rock yet, but on Prize Pick and others, you can do this. Lamar Jackson over on 215 passing yards. He has been, I think, 100% so far this year on covering his spread in the passing game. And he's playing another team that is not very good on the passing defensive front. So I like Lamar Jackson over 215. Those are my locks for the week.
Those are Brad's locks for the week. I've got to tell you guys. Oh, there's Cliff. I got to tell you guys. Since Echeverria was named the president of the Canes, the golfer Echeverria was golfing, and he was 100 to 1 to win the first round, and 100 to 1 to win it all. Oh, and I have to say, I did take him to win the first round. I did not. I forgot to take him to win it all. He was just one shot off the lead after the first round, and he did win the tournament at 20 under, and I thought I had it, and I didn't. I was like, oh.
Hey, next week at the bottom of the screen it's going to say Brad Tejeda, Degenerate Brett, Miami Mondo, and Uncle Cliff, right?
Yes, we got CanesWear.com. We get the CanesWear, as my friend Clark always says, we got to go public and do the CanesWear sports book for sure as well in this new day and age. So it's but listen, don't want anybody to take this up. This is all fun and games. We're never going to put any real money on it. So I want kids at home to realize that, please do it on paper only. Right, Cliff? Entertainment purposes only, and past results do not are not anything for future indications or something like that.
No, I think I've mentioned that on here before. The guy that really trips me out, and he does not hide his gambling love, is Al Michaels on
No, Al Michaels.
Yeah,
he was on CNBC the other day. Actually, they asked Al for. And by the way, I think GameStop is going to make another run. If anyone's listening, it's
goodness,
it's 24 after market, after hours. So that's another story. So GameStop.
He does the Thursday night games on Prime with the NFL games at Kirk Herbstreit, and I believe it was the Rams and the Vikings last week. It was the fourth quarter, and they had already gone over the over/under. And Kirk Herbstreit made some comment about the game maybe or maybe not being. Or Al's like, well, for most of us, the game's over. So he always drops some gambling reference. Always.
I love that.
Yeah.
So no, it's true. The game's not over till it's over, and we've all had those bad beats. I love when SVP does those bad beats because it's.
I'm retiring from Tyreek Hill bets this year. I'm done.
I know.
I can't no more.
And I have done it as well. Tyreek Hill, and I've gone with Malik Washington to score a touchdown the last 3 weeks. He was 25 to 1 2 weeks and 10 to 1 last. He hasn't done it. So this week, I guarantee he's going to do it because I may not.
Did you guys see that craziness? I didn't even realize it was hashtag like national tight ends or something like that. And every tight end,
everybody and their mother had a tight end touchdown.
The biggest thing of tight ends in the history. Correct. That was crazy. Hashtag tight ends. Who knew? So it's but definitely live betting to me is the coolest thing in the world, though. You're at the game, the game starts at 57. If you like a team you like, they're a 7-point underdog, and the other team scores first. It go, a 7-point favorite.
Yeah.
The other team scores first. It goes to 4. It's like I just got a free 3 points.
Yeah.
You guys got to teach me about that.
Obviously.
At the VT game on that final drive, that it gave me the team total. It gave a lot of people the team total. Miami over, and just imagine I was sitting right there in that end zone, and when they scored, it's like double the yes, oh my god, it's so great.
Yeah, I try to look at the percentages, but anyway, all right. So we got the Duke Miami scores. We've all gone ahead and picked ours. We've done our Gamblers Anonymous tip, and CanesWear, the spot, South Florida's Fans Shop. We go open 7:00 on Saturday. Friday we'll be there till at least 8 p.m. My staff will love me. Thursday will be there till 8 p.m. Friday till 8 p.m. And Saturday 7:00 to 7:00. Canes got to win. It's going to be an exciting day. Pack the Rock, please. Everybody, show up to the Rock. Come from everywhere. Ashley, Adam, they're coming from Ohio. We got Big Poppy on the board. We've got Dolphin Derek will be there. Exciting times right now for the Canes. Let's go out and support. Let's show our support for the Cam Ward World Tour. It's a great time to be a Canes fan. It's not so great time to be a NFL fan for Cliff and Brad, who are Cowboy fans, and myself, who's a Dolphin fan, and Armando, who's a Philly fan. At least is in the winners column.
He's the
only one.
We got to mention that Washington miracle. That was just insane.
Oh, you're right. That was spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, first of all,
do we need a mention? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Former Cane Tyreek Stevenson. He's talking to the crowd, taunting them. The Bear fans are screaming, "Go, stay over there!"
Oh my goodness!
And he tips the ball. So I mean, that play was just such a
Incredible.
play. Two things. First of all, don't rush 3 guys. Rush 5 guys. Get the quarterback. He had all day long to throw the ball. And secondly, don't let a receiver behind you. I mean, that guy was behind 3 yards behind everybody. It's like, huh? So that was amazing. And he threw the ball 65 yards. They said, we're going to have to bring him out possibly. The announcer was saying, maybe we should put in who is it? Who was again the backup quarterback? Mariota?
Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, unbelievable play. It was just unbelievable. Amazing how that team's turned it around.
Yeah.
What were you going to say on that, Brad?
No, I mean, not only was he celebrating and taunting the fans before the play, there was also another video. Not only that, but there was also another video that before the game started.
Oh, betting. I saw that.
He bet 2 Washington fans $200 each that they were going to win the game, and that video ended up surfacing.
He
so
did
you
that
had the
during the game.
No, before the game.
It was before the game started.
Now, my buddy David just pointed out that there was not one bear in the end zone, which is it's a Hail Mary. They don't have one guy in the end zone. I mean, that coach. I know Tyreek apologized on X, right? But and everyone was saying, you know what, you're human, it's okay. But I don't understand that at all.
Well, imagine if
this
you
is
had
bigger
the
than the drop punt he had for us that game against Texas A&M.
Imagine having the Bears needing a win for a parlay win or a spread. I couldn't imagine. Like, oh my God.
I couldn't imagine that either. I could not imagine that.
I'd be sick.
I know. I've been there. When that happens, it says it only happens to me, even though it's happened to everybody else too. So you're right. That play. But one thing about the Dolphins and the Cowboys, between the two of them, they both signed their quarterback. They both signed their wide receiver. Ours is only $88 million. The Cowboys, I think, $140. But between those 4 players, $700 million in basically guaranteed contracts for 2 teams that are combined 5 and 10. I mean, could there be 5 and 10, gentlemen? 2 playoffs last year.
Trading on college football. I don't care about the NFL, Brett. No more.
Cliff is he is no longer, and Brad has said it too. They're leaving the Cowboys for whoever Cam Ward is. So they are free agents.
I'll be for whoever X.
Wherever Cam goes, they are a fan.
I go for X. He goes for Ward. Whatever those teams are.
Wherever X goes, you go for. Okay. Okay.
Hey, we'll do this show next year, and Brad's gonna be in a Giants jersey and like.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey guys, this was a great show as always. Every Tuesday night, make sure you catch me, Brett, Mondo, and Cliff. And as Brett said, if any fan watching or tuned in ever wants to jump on with us or be a special guest, feel free to reach out to us on X or through here as well. But guys, yet again, another great episode with the fellas. We had our new segment with me and Mondo with some of our picks and locks for the week. We got to chop and talk about the Florida State W leading to this Duke matchup against Manny Diaz, Manny versus Mario. And, of course, all of us that you are watching on the screen will be at The Rock yet again or in Miami. One of the two are working the store. So make sure you guys pack The Rock if you have the opportunity to do so. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. This is the CanesWear podcast on FTSN. Fellas, what else you guys got before we close out the show for tonight?
Go Canes.
Words.
Go Canes. Let's go. 1-0, just win.
1-0, just win.
Yeah, I'll make it quick as far as, like Brett said, as far as Taylor Swift and whatnot. The game's at noon. Usually you'd say, no, I'm not going to go out there. It's too hot. It's going to be 82 degrees. There's going to be a slight breeze. You can get upper deck seats for $50, lower level end zone and club levels for like $100. You can see the 8-0 top 5 ranked in America Miami Hurricanes and the nation's leading guy for the Heisman Trophy. Why wouldn't you go watch them this Saturday? Like, get your ass out there.
Bro,
let's go, baby.
The game will be over by 3:30, 4 o'clock. Everyone could go.
It.
You got the rest of the day, night, whatever you want, bro.
That's it.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Game is from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Come on after. Come celebrate at CanesWear. And afterwards, come and see everybody. Guys, come on in. Let's just have a great day. And it's 12 o'clock, like you said. The game's over at 3, 4 o'clock. Tailgate a little bit after. You got the whole day still to party, relax, watch the other games. I think Penn State, Ohio State is right after that game. Penn State
No,
minus
Ken.
No, it's at noon, I think.
Is that a
At
noon also? Okay,
I
so
think so.
so
Young
bottom
Connor
line
will be-
is go out, watch the game, watch Brad's daily live podcast. All right, can't get enough of Big Brad here. Daily
Watched
Live,
it last night. Great job.
FTSN.
Great job.
Go ahead, get on the FTSN network and go ahead, like, subscribe, watch Brad every week. And thank you so much for joining the show. We appreciate each and every one of you. We're getting new viewers every single day. So thank you so much. Oh, look at it.
We got a boy Taz in the building.
Taz.
Taz
Always
is
good
in the
seeing Taz
building.
at the tailgate.
Building. We got them all today.
Yes,
Taz
that's
good
awesome.
people.
Absolutely.
That's a good
Hey,
dude right
guys,
there.
there's no excuses to pack the rock. I'm going to be driving 5 hours from Gainesville solo with a 7-year-old and a
That's
4-year-old,
love right there,
tailgating,
bro.
going to the game, and still driving back the same day.
Brad,
So if
you're
I can do it, y'all can do it.
You're going for sure?
Yeah, I'm going. Good.
Nice.
Oh, perfect.
All right. All right.
I'm
guys.
flying from Pennsylvania into Sarasota, driving 3.5 hours coming over.
Boom.
So you can do it.
Great job.
All
Legendary
right, guys.
stuff.
Thank you very much. Go
Can't wait
Canes.
to see you guys.
Go
Go
Canes.
Canes, baby.